Hello, welcome back. This is Force 13 Live. Current time 5:01 UTC, 6:01 here in the UK. That's PM. And along the east coast of the US, it's 1 minute past 1. I'm Nathan Foy, joined by Hank.
Hello, Nathan.
Hi.
I will be here for about another 15 minutes before I got to go back off to class.
I got something very unfortunate to say. I can't talk now for a few minutes.
How long exactly?
Maybe 15, I don't know.
Oh, okay, well... oh, no.
I might be able to help you out, but tell us about the storm, Hank. So, you might want to repeat the warnings that are in effect, hey?
Yeah, I'll start off with that. Warnings in effect for this storm. Okay. So a hurricane warning, which means hurricane conditions are likely within the next 24 hours at least, in effect for all of Haiti, the Cuban provinces of Guantanamo, Santiago de Cuba, Houlligin, Granma, and Las Tunas, as well as the southeastern Bahamas, including the Iguanas, Mayaguana, Alkins, Crooked Island, Long Key, and Ragged Island, San Salvador, and Cat Island, as well as the northwestern Bahamas, including the Abacos Island, Andros Island, Berry Islands, Bimini, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama Island, and New Providence. So that's basically all of the Bahamas now under hurricane warning. Hurricane watch means hurricane conditions are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours. In effect for the Cuban province of Camagüey, the Deerfield Beach to the Valauzia Brevard County line. I believe that's in Florida.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tropical storm watch is in effect for the Dominican Republic from Baharna westward to the border with Haiti, as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands. The tropical storm warning has been discontinued for the nation of Jamaica, as the storm is basically moving away from that area. Tropical storm watch means tropical storm conditions are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours. And that's in effect for the Dominican Republic from Puerto Plata westward to the border with Haiti, the 7-mile bridge to south of Deerfield Beach in Florida, as well as Lake Okeechobee in Florida. So that's what's going on with the watches and warnings. If you want a quick graphic, I'll pull up the I'll pull up the cone. Basically, all of the Bahamas except the Turks and Caicos Islands, all of Haiti, this area of Cuba, since specifically earlier, hurricane watches just west of the areas in Cuba, along the coast of Florida, watches, that's the hurricane watches. Tropical storm warnings for Turks and Caicos Islands in that little area in the Dominican Republic, shown on that map, shown on this graphic. There's an ant right there. Sorry about that. And a tropical storm watch is in effect from the border with Haiti and the Dominican Republic westward to a certain point, as well as Lake Okeechobee and basically the Miami area down through the Keys. Track is basically that the storm will move north, make landfall on the eastern tip of Cuba, and then move towards the northwest through the Bahamas. Probably not quite as far west as Florida, as to make a landfall in Florida. But after Florida, it should probably start to turn to the northeast and might make a landfall in the Carolinas. But it's still too early to tell. It's still too early. So past at least, let's say Friday now, or maybe even Thursday, take it with a grain of salt. Take everything I'm saying that's it's going to occur past Thursday with a grain of salt.
Well, Hendra says, is the risk in Haiti gone or not? I can tell you not.
No, it's not. There's still, looking at the visible imagery from Matthew, you can see there's still a lot of rain and thunderstorms and gusty winds, all that, probably some very devastating conditions in Haiti right now, unfortunately, which could result in the loss of hundreds, I hate to say it, but possibly even thousands of lives. And Matthew, earlier this morning, became the first category for a hurricane to make landfall in Haiti since Cleo of 1962. Or 1964, excuse me.
That's right.
Is it 1964? Oh, yeah, it's 1964, my bad. Yes, I'm Wikipediaing it. I just wanted to look up the date real quick. Other comments.
Hank, I just want you to go back to the National Hurricane Center's website and show us perhaps the wind probability maps.
Wind speed probabilities. Okay. So basically, this indicates. Here's a little scale right down here. There's a little announcement going on in the background. I'm sorry. Basically, these areas in purple are basically you're pretty much guaranteed to see at least tropical storm force winds. So that includes Haiti, Eastern Cuba, and pretty much all of the Bahamas. This little area out here is the other basically useless named storm named Nicole. And you can see past at least, as I said, Thursday, it becomes, much less certain. So that's why the wind probabilities go down due to less certainty. This is a hurricane wind speed probability, basically guaranteed for the western tip of Haiti and eastern tip of Cuba. Then past that, it's still relatively uncertain, though I think the Bahamas should be upgraded to at least, a 90% chance of hurricane force winds.
I
so
guess, but a lot can change.
A lot can change. That's the thing, especially in October. Let's see, I have about 8 minutes left. Okay, so basically in October is like the most unpredictable month in the Atlantic. It's mostly due, you have the really weird storm tracks. There's a bunch of other factors that I can't entirely remember right now, but a bunch of other factors. Jet stream is kind of begin to affect more. You've got cold fronts, recurving storms, and all that sort of stuff. And you've had some very poor model guidance, very poor. You saw last year a pretty good example with Joaquin, just god awful model consensus. Some taking it into the East Coast, others taking it towards Bermuda, and that one model that took it towards Bermuda, the ECMWF, was correct. And so the ECMWF, it really is the model to watch in October. They also got Sandy correct when all the other models saying that Sandy was gonna move out to sea. They got Sandy correct with the infamous left hook into New Jersey. Karen of 2013, yes, there was a storm in 2013. Was at one point thought to have going to make a landfall as a hurricane in Pensacola area or Alabama. That didn't come to fruition because anomalously high wind shear, like at least 60 knots, very dry air, and just the atmosphere is very stable. Wind shear actually pushed the center circulation into Florida. It actually shoved it into Florida. So that was interesting to see that kind of play out.
Yeah, just to point out, the actual colours, the dark green there is 5%, the lighter green is then to 10%, and then I think it's 10% increments after that, isn't it?
Yes. So yeah, here's a little key down here if you are wanting specific.
Unfortunately it's obscured by the by our headline at the bottom, but there you can see it just about.
Yeah, okay, so that's basically the graphics. So I got about 5 more minutes, unfortunately. But, there's a bunch of things going on in Haiti right now. The population in general is just very, underdeveloped and poor. They're still recovering from the earthquake in 2010. And the thing that makes Haiti most susceptible to rain, like big, storms like these, the mountains on the sides of the mountains have been deforested for lodging or something. I'm not entirely sure why, but they have been. So the soil there is very loose. So you could have at least 10 centimeters of rain causing some pretty big landslides, let alone a meter, which is forecast to fall in portions of Haiti. I'm not entirely sure on the rainfall totals in Haiti just yet.
That's still going to be increasing at this time as well.
It's still increasing quite clearly. It looks like the worst of the weather is beginning to clear up in the Tiburon Peninsula, but for the mainland of Haiti, no, it's not going to clear up for several hours, unfortunately, which could just put more insult to injury to what's already been a very tough past 6 years. They really haven't had a hurricane effect we haven't really had a hurricane affect Haiti since Sandy, and the last storm to actually make a landfall in Haiti, other than this storm, was Isaac back in 2012. The last, really, really big storm to hit Haiti was Thomas in late 2010. So it's pretty. You don't really see.
I remember that being a huge concern at the time because of the earthquake relief process, which is still ongoing, I believe.
Yeah, there's also an outbreak of cholera in Haiti, which that just made it worse. So yeah, you can have some really big storms in Haiti. You could have storms like Gordon of 1994, not come anywhere close to a landfall, but still caused 1,200 deaths. It still baffles my mind why that wasn't retired. But anyways, you could have storms like Hurricane Hannah of 2008, which kind of came a little bit close. It didn't make a landfall, but still caused 500 deaths at least. You could have, we had Flora back in 1963. That, I think, made a landfall in Haiti as a Cat 3. I'm not entirely sure. And then, of course, that thing stalled over Cuba for at least 4 days or something like that, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, 3 days and started moving out.
And it dropped an incredible amount of rain, at least 2.5 meters in some areas of Cuba, which is just incredible amounts of rain. So I'm gonna have to wrap up. I'm gonna have to wrap things up very soon. Unfortunately, I wish I could stay longer, but school is the number one priority for me. Of course. So last thing I'm gonna do is check some comments. Quickly answer the question. Carrie Acton says, doesn't it look like it's going to curve right a bit to avoid Florida? I think it's probably going to it might not make a landfall in Florida. In fact, at this point, they're saying probably not a landfall, but you never know what could happen. It could easily make a landfall, or it could just easily just curve out the sea and not even, you might not even have a drop of rain in Florida. So I find that scenario quite unlikely at this point. One more question. Let's see if there's any other questions. Yeah. Doesn't look. Mike R says looks like Guantanamo is going to be taking a direct hit. Not quite. It's going to move to the east of Guantanamo Bay. That's, I guess, the good news for them is moving towards the east, so they're not going to have the problems with surge or anything like that going into the bay. If anything, we'll be having surge go out of the bay due to the circulation power of the system. So I'm going to wait for the bell to ring, and then I'm going to wrap things up. A couple last words for Matthew.
Yep.
If you're still in Haiti, and if you're in Haiti, and if you're somehow have access to this video, you're I would say you're probably at least halfway through this. If you're on the Tiburon Peninsula, then it probably will improve within the next couple of hours because the eye will continue to move north, and with the eye, the CDO and the thunderstorms will move with it. So then you can get kind of a scope of the damage, which I would imagine could be unimaginable in some areas. And if you're on the East Coast, if you're in Florida, continue to monitor the progress of the system. We still don't know entirely what's going to happen with the system. So just, keep an eye on the NHC and what they're saying. Keep an eye what your local weather office is saying at the National Weather Service. Just stay tuned to Force 13 because I would imagine this live stream would be going on for several more hours. I will be back in I get home at around 21:30 UTC most often. That's the bell. So yeah, I get back in about 4+ hours. So yeah, 21:30 UTC. If the stream is still going, then I will be joining at that time.
It will be. Thanks very much, Hank, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, sorry I have to leave, guys.
That's okay. We'll see him again soon, and many other people probably who will be on the stream. If we're going to take a short break at this point. I'm otherwise occupied for a few moments, and we'll return with more commentary and coverage of the storm. We'll leave you with this screen here, and we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back. This is Force 13 Live. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm here in the chair right now. It's 5:19 p.m. UTC on the Universal Clock, 6:19 here in the UK, and it's just myself right now. So if you've got any questions for us, send them in. I'm just trying to verify something here. One of the dropsons from 40 minutes ago, Devon's telling me, one of our team members, that they're still measuring wind speeds of 145 miles an hour inside the storm, which, if true, is quite remarkable. And I don't think we really know how strong the storm was at landfall, because it started to look better. I would support the 145 mile an hour landfall, but there was a lot of confusion last night when we were talking about it, and how the dropsons measured an eye temperature in the high 20s Celsius, which usually corresponds to a high in Category 4 or a Category 5 hurricane. No evidence of that on satellite, but that's what you expect, and that's all we had to go on at landfall, because I don't believe there were any planes in the storm at that time. But regardless of that, it's the strongest landfall in Haiti for 50 years, one of the strongest landfalls in Haiti's history, and you can see a sort of little bit of a westward jog after that landfall, but I think that latest frame there shows that it's still moving in a north direction, and it's aiming, if you look at it there, for the eastern tip of Cuba. And then you've got the Bahamas north of that, and the storm's going to get pretty close to some of those islands. And the next update from the National Hurricane Center will be due in 30 minutes or so. As far as I'm aware, there's no new warnings that will be issued with that advisory, though for areas out at sea, I believe tropical storm warnings have been extended further north, but that's out at sea over the high seas. It's a potentially dangerous situation even for the United States, and it's something we're going to be watching very closely over the next few days. Again, if you're in Florida, you should be thinking about preparing. They called a state of emergency yesterday. I'd rather call it a state of preparedness, and you should be preparing for the possibility of the storm, but not as if it was a fact that it's definitely going to hit and evacuating today and all that. No, not yet, because it may end up being a wasted trip if the storm decides it wants to do something else, which it could. Though, at the moment, more than half chance of the storm affecting Florida significantly. But by no means is it a certainty, no matter what anyone else tells you. It's by no means a certainty that it's going to affect anywhere along the US East Coast. And, tomorrow I think we'll get a better idea. It's 3 days out, well, maybe 2.5 days out now, the storm affecting the US. So, still plenty of time before the storm makes itself known. The Bahamas, on the other hand, should be very concerned, because the storm is predicted to pass directly over the chain of islands, including its capital, directly over its capital, Nassau, as a Category 3 storm. So that's certainly a cause for concern right there. So, you're looking at Hurricane Matthew with the latest satellite imagery, and I'll see if there's a new image out just now, perhaps. And also interesting to look at the infrared imagery too. And the latest one shows actually the eye is definitely coming back. So the eye's certainly there. And let me just update the loop that we've got on the screen, and you might see the latest frame. There it is, the eye becoming a little bit more clear again. So this storm's definitely not over, and the second landfall in Cuba is going to be a significant one. and I think the NHC may well keep that 145 mile an hour intensity at the 2 p.m. advisory. Of course, we've also got Tropical Storm Nicole further to the northeast of Matthew. Looking at an earlier satellite loop, if I can find it, of the whole Atlantic, if you've not seen it yet. There it is. Let me just find the update to that image whilst you're looking at it. But you can see all the systems there. You could discernibly say that there are 3 in the Atlantic, effectively. You've got Matthew as the image updates, which is quite clear to see. Nicole, which is obviously battling some dry air over there, and wind shear. And then that little area to the southeast, east of the Windward Islands, which is not expected to do anything, but is looking interesting right now. Well, I'm going to see if I can get Craig into this conversation right now. I'm not sure whether he's available or not, but I think it was he was going to be available soon. But oh, we do have him. Hello.
Major problems. Major problems.
Major problems for Craig, apparently.
Big problems.
Such as?
My laptop is near enough basically died and ran out of memory.
Oh dear.
Yes. And I'm in desperate need in trying to even fix that. So you may here's some of the old rage here and there, but hopefully that doesn't affect me too much. But I'm here anyway, so down to business. What's the latest in Hurricane Matthew?
Well, apparently Dropson got the what was it? Kept 145 mile an hour winds. So I would expect to see it still at that intensity at the next National Hurricane Center update.
Right.
Which would be astonishing, I suppose. Obviously, it's a bad day for Haiti right now, and it's not going to get much better for some time yet.
Yeah, because apparently, I've seen it on the BBC News, and apparently a number of people have already been killed, unfortunately. It happens, it's one of them things, it's a hurricane. I mean, we did expect people to sadly lose their lives, and I already understand that there's a recon currently within him, and there's still pressure's already starting to go down because he's left Haiti. Seeing that already is very much alarming. Seeing it go down, his pressure can go even further. That's something you don't really want to see happening, especially after a landfall at this scale. Because the latest from the BBC News report because there's a report in Haiti at the minute reporting that there's landslides, there's flooding, and the flooding, apparently there was 3 feet of rain that was dropped within less than 24 hours, which I am really not surprised at, because to be honest, that was coming.
It was forecasted.
That was coming, and now, as far as I know, there's already been hurricane watches in effect for Florida, and that in itself is basically very, very alarming, and that in itself is concerning, because what's Matthew got in store for Florida if he hits? I mean, if he hits, then God knows what's going to happen. I mean, he could easily end up in severe trouble. Florida could end up in severe trouble. I mean, it's concerning. he's already re-strengthening, so he's basically got straight back to it and basically got right into the fray of getting back over water and getting into its ability to re-strengthen.
Yeah, and
That's what concerns me.
Well, the main re-strengthening time is probably going to be over the Bahamas, isn't it?
That's where that's where he's going to have to be really conservative about it. If not, if he wants to deepen again, which looking invisible, his eyes already reappearing. That's bad in itself. Cloud tops are cooling again. That's bad in itself as well. And look, all in all for Cuba as well. Now it's next in line. It's not looking too great for them, especially if the eye's coming back. If the eye is coming back to Matthew, then you sort of already know that there's a major problem on the hands for Florida, and also not alone Florida, there's Cuba. So Cuba's got a major fight on its hands here to hopefully survive it, come out all right and okay, unscathed. But the unfortunate thing is that we're really looking at more deaths from Matthew, and he's already, I don't know, I don't have an accurate number on how many people he's killed.
Soul Surfing says, do you think we should board up in West Palm Beach? Not today is my answer.
Not yet. Not yet.
Today.
That's too soon. But I'd say as soon as he gets out over the Bahamas, if there's anyone in the Bahamas, I'd be boarding up now. Because if you don't board up now, it's too late. Especially if they're... I don't know whether you've already reiterated the warnings that are in effect.
Yeah, we do it every so often.
Yeah, just to refresh everyone's memories. Hurricane warnings will obviously remain in effect for most of Haiti, or for the whole of Haiti. Tropical storm warnings still remain in effect until up to the far side of to the western side of the Dominican Republic, up to the border of Haiti, and tropical storm watch remains in effect for the border of the north and the part of Dominican Republic. Hurricane warnings obviously remaining in effect for eastern Cuba, and hurricane watches remaining in effect for central Cuba. Tropical storm watches are in effect for one Bahamas island, and the rest are now under hurricane warnings. And Florida now...
Wait a minute, say that again.
One island in the Bahamas has a tropical storm warning, and the rest are all under hurricane warnings.
Which one's that?
That's the one that's just north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
No, that's the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Shows you I know my Bahamas. Shows you. Goes to show. Also, for Florida as well, there's tropical storm watches in effect, and there's also hurricane watches as well. And looking at these forecasts, this is really a hurricane that's going to be needed to be watched by not only Florida, not only where he's supposed to still continue as a hurricane going up the east coast and south in North Carolina, and also Georgia as well, is going to have to watch this very closely. Very closely. Because this hurricane, even now that he's over waters again, I mean, yes, he's got some additional time to re-intensify, but when he hits Cuba and gets back off of Cuba, that's where you're really going to start seeing possibly something bad happening, let alone the Bahamas is getting an absolute hounding.
Magpie Gamer says, is there a possibility for Matthew to re-strengthen to a Cat 5?
Well, that in itself, there is a possibility, but I'm not going to say he will. I'm not going to say that. It's a possibility, because if the conditions remain the same and the wind shear continues to decrease and where he's pushing it up, he's got a good chance. But seeing the Cat 5 or having to say Cat 5, that's not exactly the category you want to be hearing. Bad enough he already got there. Quote unquote Cat 5. Very questionable. But sadly, we can't argue with that. It was a Cat 5, we can't argue it, but sadly,
Some people in the team think it wasn't a Cat 5. I still think it was.
yeah. And if it's a Cat 5, sadly, it was a Cat 5, but we've got to really keep watching on it. But if it becomes a Cat 5,
You know, same
again,
difference. High in Cat 4, Cat 5. Same
if
difference.
it becomes a Cat 5 again, then it's going to be rather concerning seeing a Cat 5 over the Bahamas, heading towards Florida and possibly going up the East Coast. Seeing a Cat 5 do that, I'm not saying he will become a Cat 5. I'm not saying he doesn't have a chance, but he does have a small chance. As long as conditions for him in terms play out and continue the way they are, then he's got a good chance. Then he's got a big chance. But you gotta hope that wind shear picks up, dry air starts picking up as well. His moisture plume starts to decay. His structure starts to decay. But the fact is that he's clipping Cuba. It's not gonna be enough. The LLCC is not gonna get enough damage from him, and that's where the problems really start sinking in for Cuba, let alone anyone else. And that's the problem. And Matthews, if anyone thinks Matthews done, I would certainly say, Matthew is far from it. Matthew is still. We know from storms of this year, Nathan, that storms have looked like they were going to die, and then they come springing back to life. I know one very, very in particular that I said that was done, that was becoming a storm, and ended up becoming a Cat 4 cyclone, and that was Eula. It's not good.
Yeah, Strat thinks Category 5 is very unlikely. Re-strengthening is certain. Strat will be with us later on. Interesting comment, and I'd be inclined to agree with that. Strengthening is, I wouldn't say it's a given, but it's likely.
Yes, it is likely. I'd certainly not say that this hurricane is done, because this hurricane, as I've said before, is far from it. This hurricane is it. This hurricane last night, I don't know if there's anyone here, was actually concerning me. It was literally beginning to physically scare me because it was, and especially this morning, as it started to kill its cloud tops, get it wrapped around the eye, and clear the eye out. That's where I thought it could have been 150. Thank God it wasn't. But you got to realize let alone, yes, it's a Cat 4 landfall, it's 145. It could have been a heck of a lot worse. But no, looking at Haiti's infrastructure, it's not good. It's as we know, it's not good because they're still recovering. That was confirmed. They're still recovering from the 2010 earthquake. And
it seems like they'll be doing that forever.
Oh, I think they'll be recovering for a long, long time yet. I think this thing could take them years.
Well, that country was already in a bad way, though. It happens all the time because the main problem is all that deforestation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hurricane comes along and it's Haiti always has a discrepant amount of fatalities. That's just the fact of it.
And the highest hurricane death toll, I could probably say that hot Florida, the ones that I really know of, was possibly Ike. Yes, that's another Cat 4.
What about Gene?
Well, Gene, what year was Gene?
2004, and that killed over 3,000. I think that were all there. I can't remember where they were now, but somewhere in the Caribbean. I don't know if it was Haiti. I can't remember now.
Well, the main one I really remember is obviously Hurricane Ike of 08. And I know Ike killed at least 6,000 people or so, 5,000 out there. I know his death tolls were in the thousands. That's at least 1,000 deaths, and killed at least 19 people in Galveston alone. Possibly more. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, something not confusing, but strange is happening on the models right now, Craig. Earlier today, one of the models, the BAM-S, predicted the storm would graze Florida and then turn out to sea and then loop round to the south towards the Bahamas again. Right? And now the UK Met model is predicting the storm to graze the coast of Florida, into Georgia, into South Carolina, and then turn south.
Sure that's not Nicole?
Well, no, this is certainly Matthew. I hope this is not a trend that we're starting to see here, that the storm might have 2 rounds of this. I hope not. But I wouldn't speculate anything to do with that yet. It is 2 outlying models that are predicting that, but it's interesting to say the least. What I consider to be the 6 major models, the GFS, GFDL, HWRF, CMC, NavGem, and ECMWF, I think they're all still in pretty good agreement as far as I'm aware.
And when you see models in agreement, that's where you start panicking.
There's certainly an agreement over the Bahamas anyway.
Oh yeah, Matty going over the Bahamas is near enough a certainty. In fact, let alone near enough, it is a certainty that he's going to run over the Bahamas.
Yeah, the southernmost, but the northern Bahamas with a little bit less certainty, mainly with intensity, but we've got a pretty good idea that the storm's going to affect some of those northern islands too, if not all.
Yeah, that's really true, that.
But there's the 3-day forecast, the official one from the National Hurricane Center, with the storm bending to the northwest after the Cuba landfall, which would be coming up in how many? A few hours. Can't quite figure out how long it will be till it reaches Cuba. But we'll be here.
Oh yes, for as long as we need be. And as long as my laptop does not die.
It's done well so far.
It's doing not too bad.
Surviving.
It's doing terrible.
Crikey.
It's only got it's done this. It's used 235 megabytes.
Pardon?
It's going down in a wall.
Oh dear, Craig's gone mad over there. You sound deranged.
Oh god. It's a good thing I've got an external hard drive that I'm using.
Yes. Good. That is wise. No. Wise move.
It is, but I don't think that would have been. Oh god. Right, never mind. Back onto Matthew.
Well, I'm just seeing if there's any new imagery, and there is. So, yes. The latest imagery, yeah, the eye structure is still there. It certainly is. The northern side looking a little bit lackluster right now.
Yes. Obviously, it's going to take time to restructure itself and rebuild. And given time, I reckon he could be back as strong as he used to be, or as he was. I'm certainly not saying he's done, because that's where I'm saying he's not done. That's where I'm saying there's a comeback on the cards. I don't know whether the National Hurricane Center is forecasting that in their latest forecast. I don't think they are. I'm thinking they're forecasting weakening throughout, which I think they need to have another look at, because I certainly wouldn't write Matthew off at this point in time.
I think it's wise that the latest forecast so far, there's uncertainty about it, and until until we get an idea of the storm structure after it's gone over Cuba, we'll get a better idea of what it might do next.
Yeah, I mean, trying to say what Matthew will do next is near enough wouldn't say idiotic thing, but it's close to
notoriously difficult so far.
To be honest, it's been one of them ones where it's been, you want to hide away from it, but yet you want to do something with it, but you don't want to forecast it, because it's one of them ones. It's horrible. It's a meanie. It's a big bully. It doesn't like it wants to torture you and you say which way it's going to go. And in fact, the main torturous point was where he didn't want to go anywhere, and then he would start moving in circles.
Oh yes, indeed.
And that there, for any forecaster, like the National Hurricane Center, the the and all well anyone else that's there, even the recon was having a nightmare. To be honest, I don't blame him, especially the way he was moving. I don't know whether my screen share is going to work.
Yes, we've got it.
Hurrah!
There it is.
I was gonna die. But you can see here in the latest radar that see how strong these rain bands have really gotten over the last few hours. And you
I've
see
got to
this.
say, that's right now.
Yeah, this is it as of now.
Now that tells you an entirely different story as to what the satellite imagery is saying.
Exactly. I mean, he is certainly a very, very strong hurricane still on radar. You can see here the southern part of the eye wall has now begun to re-strengthen. You can see here it's starting to get reinforced with very, very strong rain bands.
No, but the northern side looks completely alien to what the satellite looks like. And I wouldn't read too much into the south and southeastern side of the eye wall because it's the far end from the radar.
You want to really focus on the northern sector about here.
Yeah, not just because it's the first part to hit, but because the radar won't pick up the southeastern side so well.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here, I mean, you can see how out of the eye wall, you can see how the rain bands have really started to re-strengthen. And that's a sign you've got to really start worrying about. I mean, the hurricane's re-strengthening for whatever time it's got left before it starts making a landfall again. And that's what's concerning. How many more landfalls can he take? When he survived, to be honest, going by him, he survived.
It is going to be barely a landfall, though. It's going to be even less significant than the Haiti landfall in terms of detriment to the storm. It's moving over less land than the Haiti landfall.
Yeah, that's true. Looking at him, on the radar, he is certainly very, very impressive. Even I'm impressed by him. I mean, looking on the IR, I mean, you want to literally get a bucket and throw up in that. But it's not about the storm.
Could you show us that, Craig? We've not managed. I've not been able to show it here.
Any IR, right here. I'll show the IR. Just for the sake of the viewers, though. There's the recent IR. You can see how the eye is starting to clear out again.
Somewhere.
And you can see, yes, somewhere in there. You see that little there.
Well, I say that because the screen hasn't updated here. That old chestnut. We've got this. Oh, there it is. We've got it now.
Hurrah! But you can see here, I mean, you can see this the little clearing section, and starting to see the bottom of the eye. You can see the convection is now starting to wrap around the eye again. If this eye does survive and doesn't make landfall on Cuba, then you could start seeing a very well-defined eye starting to appear within that, which could lead to some pretty darn severe trouble and problems. Not saying that the eye walls are not going to cause any problems, but just saying that the eye walls could get even stronger because the eye is still over ocean, and the eye's got enough time and enough waters there to either sustain itself, strengthen, do whatever it likes. And basically, anyone that's in the path of Matthew, you're basically at his mercy. And you're at Matthew's mercy. I mean, we saw what's happened to Haiti so far. From what I've seen by the BBC report, there's nothing much has happened apart from flooding. But I know somewhere else.
But where was that, sorry?
The BBC report.
And that's in the Haitian capital?
That was in Haiti. I'm not sure where it was. I can't remember the location of it, but I know it was definitely where Matthew made landfall. As far as I know, not seeing anything apart from flooding, no other damage as of yet. But I know that there's going to be somewhere else, where about the area, I know there's going to be a lot more damage, because I know there's been landslides, and we all know there's been landslides, and we know there's damage. Not let alone wind damage and flooding. There's going to be a lot of damage from landslides, which is, as you know, is catastrophic, and it's bad. I mean, the situation itself is still bad. I was hoping that Matthew would start, degrading in structure, but the microwave imagery depicted a still very well defined eye, very strong core with Matthew, and he's certainly proving one of the worst hurricanes, well, that I've tracked. Certainly not what anyone else has tracked. I mean, I know there's people out there that have seen a hell of a lot worse than what I've seen. Looking at Matthew just reminds me that the Atlantic can produce far worse. But in this terms, it's bad. I mean, it's horrible. Looking at it, I mean, I was at college today, and then everyone else, literally everyone at the in my class literally stopped what they were doing and then just watched Matthew spin up. Literally stopped and watched Matthew spin up to Haiti, and half of them literally went out the class and, not even kidding, started greeting. I'm not kidding. Not like saying hello to him. Started greeting, and that's not saying hello to everybody. That's Scottish for Republic. There you go. You're learning some Scottish on this now.
Scottish lessons for the stream.
Scottish lessons with free.
Great. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well. There's not much else to say in terms of actual warnings in effect right now. It's just the same as it was for the US. Hurricane Watch is down to Deerfield Beach, I believe it still is. And Tropical Storm Watch is extending as far as Marathon in the Florida Keys.
Man, let's just try and dedicate some of what's... Hang on, that's Matthew. I don't want Matthew. Come on.
What are we doing?
I was going to try and have a look at our new name storm.
Oh dear, I don't think we should spend too long on that one.
I had a feeling that one would become a disturbance. Good lord. Oh well. I literally had a good look at it, and I didn't think it would become one, but it was very well organised. When that is very well organised, a very well organised disturbance in my mind.
Wait up on that.
Well, I'm holding the reins here. And we're not reindeering.
I know, it's taking a long time to get what you're showing us, and
yes.
It's not there yet. Yeah, very frustrating for you, isn't it?
But from what I'm seeing, I'm trying to describe it as long as it catches up. From what I'm seeing anyway, it's a very well organised disturbance. The disturbance is very well organised. It's a lot of convection around it. It's got a lot of convection over the centre. So if there was an LLCC to form, this storm could be a rapid developer, which is not what a lot of folk want to hear. As another storm trying to rapidly develop.
Which one are you talking about?
My screen share not updated yet.
No, it hasn't. Sorry.
That's what I was on about. The disturbance that's been named in the Atlantic. Well, it's been tagged in the Atlantic.
Nicole.
No, that's not that one. There's a new one.
The one that's near Trinidad.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, that's actually been tagged as an invest, has it?
No, it's just been tagged as a disturbance just now.
By who?
NHC.
Oh, they have. That's interesting.
Yes, it's tagged as a disturbance. This is what their report said anyway. At least this one won't be a cloud without an LLCC. Nathan, you'll get what I'm on about.
Sorry?
At least this one won't be a cloud without an LLCC.
Indeed. Let's not go there.
Yes. But this is the report from the NHC on the disturbance that was put up on 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, obviously today. So this is just recently been put up.
Yes, it just happened now, yes. And we can see it. Wonderful.
A tropical wave located 700 miles east of the Windward Islands is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Well, that's clearly not what I'm seeing. Development of, if any, of this system is expected to be slow to occur. You said that with Matthew, and look what happened.
It does look good, though. It's bigger than Matthew in aerial coverage.
It is, man. They said there's some points in there. They said that if there's any development of the system, it's expected to be slow to occur while the wave moves westward at 10 to 15 miles per hour. That's near enough exactly what they said with Matthew, and look what happened.
I don't think it'll do the same thing, though.
I think it'll go more direct through the Caribbean, though.
Yes, I agree with that as well. From what I saw, the models, they predicted the disturbance to probably hug the coast of Venezuela, Colombia, deliver some rainfall, not get much stronger.
Yeah, but to be honest, looking at it, and if it was to be formed right now,
it could be a rainmaker, definitely.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a rain event.
And I don't know how all those countries fared after Matthew, whether there was problems. I know there's some flooding on the northern coast of Colombia because Marcel is living there on our team. And 1,400 people apparently lost possessions, he told us. So if there's more rain on the way, that could be bad news for those areas.
That would be bad. And then also just to continue with the report, if there's any of the development, if any of the system is expected to be slow to occur while the waves moves westward at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Regardless of development, heavy rain and gusty winds are possible in the Windward Islands during the next couple of days during the wave's passage. Formation chance through 48 hours is low, 10%, and formation chance through 5 days is also low, which is 20%. So regardless if this thing doesn't develop, or if it does develop, this thing's going to be a lot worse. I'm not really wanting to find out what's going on in the Windward Islands. I know, to be honest, everyone knows that they've probably not fared up from the tropical storm conditions that have occurred from that.
Yeah, it's a disturbed tropics at the moment, gotta say.
Yeah, who showed them something they didn't want to see? Who disturbed them? Let's just not go down that now.
Well, hey, we're reaching the end of the hour. We're going to take a short break now, Craig. I don't know if you'll be with us for the next hour, but we'll be continuing our coverage. We're going to be entering our 23rd hour of coverage on Hurricane Matthew, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. Stay tuned. This is Force 13 Live.